Hello everybody and what's going on? 5869 with another replay analysis. We're going to be going over Super Gnat. He's going to be on the 3K offlane Beastmaster. And this is, I guess you could almost say, the second offlane video I've done today, almost like a series. But the last game was a 3K offlane Bristleback. I felt like I pointed out some good things there. Really got a lot of good information. And is it going to be offlane or am I going to look like an idiot? Is it going to be mid lane? I thought it was offlane. Let me take a look at this message here. Okay, so actually he doesn't say whether or not he's offlane, so it looks like he may actually be mid lane, in which case that'll be good to go over as well. A little bit interesting to see how he plays it out. Looks like he buys a wand on top of those tangos. Not bad. Don't think he necessarily needs branches, as he's got some nice base stats here. Maybe, actually, you know what, maybe a few branches, because that means he can get off 2 wild axes. I think if he buys 3 branches, he can probably get off 2 wild axes without having to wait for regen, or even just 2 branches. That'd probably be alright as well. I think give him a little bit more base damage too, because he's going to be up against the Lina. If not that, he probably really needs a stout shield here. So I think if he goes Tango, Magic Stick, I don't think it's that important. I think, looks like this Timbersaw probably going to die right now. Doesn't even get the rune. Oh, nice stun over here from the Lina. But anyways, not really much you probably could have done there. Maybe be going for the boar at level 1. I don't know. That's a little bit hard to tell. But yeah, if you got a couple, sticks here, magic sticks. I cannot talk right now. If you have a couple branches right now, you've got your axes again already. You got a little bit more mana, a little bit more HP. I think it's all right to get a couple. You know, maybe Tango 2 sticks. 2 branches and a stout shield might be all right. It's gonna be a hard lane for sure. You're definitely gonna want a stout shield up against the Lina. Lina's got some pretty good base damage. She does a lot of damage, like a lot of smaller damage, really quickly here, which is why, you know, a stout shield would be pretty good. The biggest thing here is that you really don't want to be feeding this boar. You do get the deny there, but you really don't want to be feeding that boar or anything to the Lina. The Hawk is going to be good for scouting the runes, since it looks like you don't have any wards on your team whatsoever. That's alright, that'll happen. You probably could just back up, let that go to your tower, let those creeps go to your tower. If you're not going to, well, I mean, you can't tank them up against the Lina, but that way you don't have to tank a little bit of range right clicks from the Lina, as well as, looks like you do get a ward there finally. So, getting some nice stick charges. Stick is definitely paying off. But I think stout shield and a couple branches might be necessary as well here. Probably gonna want to move into a Basilius after that. I don't think you do, but I did see your itemization at the end of this game. I think Vlad's is a really good item on Beastmaster. He relies a lot on pushing as well as solo killing, and with those solo kills he uses his minions. And, you know, some bonus damage, mana regen, stuff like that is really good when you're solo killing. It's good for your team, good for a solo kill. Pretty much everything, right? So I think probably if Vlad's would have been good, which is why Basilius is such a great item on Beastmaster. Couple things. First of all, these abilities cost 15 mana. That's like ridiculous. That's actually so low. I mean, you're gonna get a bottle anyways, but the Basilius means that you've got a little bit more armor on yourself. You can toggle it on and off to kind of decide if you want to push the lane. Whether you're in mid or off lane, it's good. In mid, it's really good because you're going to be solo pushing, and you do have the opportunity to push early on. And I think that's something that Beastmaster is certainly interested in doing if he's capable of doing so. So you grab a Basilius, you're able to push a little bit early on. The armor helps against the right clicks as well as if you had a stout shield. So like if you have a Basilius stout shield, the Lina actually doesn't do all that much right click damage to you. You're strength hero as well, so you get some nice bonus HP just off your base stats, and it's really going to help out with your strength and stuff like that. So I think probably the mid lane build, even the off lane build, you almost always want something like Basilius and stout shield, and then like some regen. If we're talking like beginning items, I think probably Tango, branch, stout shield. I'm pretty sure you can afford, unless I'm doing the math wrong, but I'm pretty sure you can afford that. And then from there, you can pick up the magic stick a little bit later on. It has been fairly beneficial for you. You've got 7 charges, but I think that's probably the better build. And then you can grab the magic stick after that. Grab a bottle if you're doing all right. If you're having a lot of trouble, just move straight to the Basilius. Forget about the bottle. Or if you're having trouble contesting runes, or you think you may, then again, forget about the bottle. Just go for the Basilius here. As you are doing all right. You got nice 8 wand charges there. Gonna give you, you know, some regen. Yeah, so it's going all right. It's looking like it's going all right. I'm just going to speed it up a little bit. You're not really going to be able to come out ahead in terms of CS in this lane. It's going to be very difficult. Even with your Stout Shield Basilius, the Lina, I mean, she's made for the mid lane. Beastmaster potentially does have a lot of mid lane capabilities, but it has to be against certain heroes. It can't really be against Alina. She's just too good mid lane. She didn't really get nerfed all that hard whatsoever. You do get the full stick. I definitely agree with that since Lina spams out a lot. I'm pretty comfortable with that. I think that's a pretty good decision there. Are you going to get ganked? You are going to go for the slow, the axes. Oh, no, couldn't throw them out. That was some nice stunning from them. If you had gotten the axes, you may have lived. But maybe... Did that Jakiro get an invis rune? I don't... That's impossible, right? Oh, no, Lina got the rune. So... You probably could have seen that gank coming considering that ward coverage you had. Unless he like smoked up or something. Or did he go there a long time ago? Didn't you guys have a ward here? Yeah, you do, right? Okay, so there it is. So I guess he snuck there a long time ago, probably when you weren't paying attention, going to the rune. That's kind of tough for me to just say, oh, like you should have map awareness, because like you were probably doing something else. He could have just snuck by there. It's not like he walked up here, because like if he just walks up here, you probably should have map awareness enough to see that. But this is a fairly difficult position, honestly. I think if he's missing on the map, you should be a little bit scared. Even with this ward here, it's beneficial to have like a hawk up here or maybe down here in order to maybe catch out a smoke a little bit early on, or you know, to scout him if he's unsmoked, something like that. So you definitely want to be using your hawks. Definitely want to ensure that they're not dying. You do have one here, which is nice, you know, fairly nice placement here. Probably doesn't matter. This Windrunner should still die. Maybe not actually. So she's actually not gonna die. All right, so that's pretty legit. She could probably. Oh no. All right, this is. I don't know why I'm watching that. Anyways, so yeah, you do go down. You're probably going to die no matter what, even if you didn't turn to axes, just because the AoE for that Lina stun is quite big. But you probably could have thrown them right after that stun, because you turned around to try and run after that. At that point, it's just, you should recognize, okay, I'm dead. You know, I'll try to get out whatever damage I can. Maybe get a turnaround. Even if not, you at least force them to use some more regen. And if you're going to die no matter what, you may as well do whatever you can to make the best out of a bad situation, right? So, not all that bad. Again, I think that one first is alright. That was actually a super legit kill. I did not expect that whatsoever. So good on you for getting that kill. If you grab your boots and your Basilius right now, you're having a great time in this lane. You've got your Basilius to help push out the lane. If you ever find something like a DD or something like that, you can easily just crush this lane. And I'm okay with the skill build right now. I'm definitely okay with it. 3-3-1, I think, is probably your best bet. Yeah, I definitely say it's your best bet, 3-3-1 in this case. And you're going to get a nice roar there. You've got the one charge, you get a DD, and you should get another kill. Alright, so nice. So you get another kill. You have to spend a lot of regen to do so. But that's alright. And I'm pretty sure you go Necro Book this game, which is fine. That's good. I'm not sure what you grab first. But again, like as a Beastmaster, you're very similar to somebody like a Dragon Knight in the lane. Or I guess a Windrunner even, is that one of your goals is to not die. That's like every hero ever is one of their goals is to not die. The other goal that you want to accomplish is that you want to pressure the tower down, obviously way before your opponent can. You're a hero that's you know, good at pushing. You've got a spammable wave clear. You've got extra units to help you push, as well as an attack speed aura that goes onto lane creeps yourself and you know, the Call of the Wild Boar, whatever your creeps that you've got. So I think something like a Basilius that helps you push is a great addition. You do go straight for the Necro Book, and I'm alright with that. I just think it would have been a little bit better, because if you go for the Basilius, you probably come around the same timing, right, with these items, because if you've got the Basilius, you might have been able to take this tower down. It sounds stupid, but the extra armor on the creeps actually means a lot in terms of fighting the opponent creep wave as well as tanking the tower. So you might have been able to get that tower down, in which case you're able to for the Basilius and the Staff of Wizardry at about the same time, right? So you want to be kind of critically thinking of your items. It might even be a recommended item. If it's not, it's pretty stupid. I think it should be. Yeah, it's even a recommended item, and I went over the same thing with the Bristleback. If you think about what your hero's good at, or sorry, if you think about what Basilius gives you, there's a couple things, right? So Gives you a little bit of damage, which is always good. Damage is always good. Means that you can pressure out a lane. You can, maybe that last bit of damage secures a kill, whatever. Gives you a little bit of mana regen. Let's look at your abilities. You've got a fairly average mana pool. Your abilities are very low cost mana, especially your boar. So the 0.65 mana regen means that you're going to be able to cast another boar almost like for free at that point. Like the mana regen that you get from Basilius is absolutely massive. It means that you're casting Call of the Boar, and it's doing pretty much nothing to your mana pool because you're just going to regen it up anyways by the time it's off cooldown and then some. So Basilius gives you some nice mana regen as well. And the aura armor. You're a Beastmaster. In case you didn't know this, Beastmaster is a very aura based hero because he's got Inner Beast, and stacking auras is actually very strong. A lot of people don't realize how good it can be just because it's kind of an invisible ability. So that's something to keep in mind here as well, as it looks like somebody does have a Basilius on your team. The Windrunner does, but it's good on a Windrunner as well. I think even with her having one, I would probably still go for one just because it helps you so much in your lane accomplish what you really need it to accomplish. Hawk is in an alright position. I would probably have had it a little bit more defensive, maybe somewhere around here, because if they are going to defend the tower, they're probably going to come from this side. Not so much from this side, I don't think, because this is their off-lane hero. If they're going to rotate, the lane is probably going to come up from the mid lane, or somebody's going to come up from the bot lane. So somewhere around here would have been a better position for that. You're doing a good job, though. You get the tower, and now you're rotating to this bottom lane. You're looking to pressure it out. You've got the double boars going, and that's good. That's really good. It looks like you get caught out here, so did not expect that team fight. I'll just back it up a little bit, and we'll keep an eye on what's going on. So right here, this is very important. Look at your map, because this is huge. Your map is telling you the entire story of what's going on right now. You don't need any vision. You don't need wards. Nothing. Because what your map is telling you right now is, look at this. I'm going to have to unpause it here real quick, I think. Alright. So, we go top lane. This PA, completely solo. Tower, still there, but there's nobody here contesting her farm whatsoever. If you guys are communicating properly, she's probably saying, hey, there's nobody's been up here for a little bit. Somebody may have rotated down or what have you. Mid lane, this is huge. This is probably the biggest telltale sign right here. Mid lane, there is nobody here in this mid lane. This creep wave is so deep right now that the fact that you can't see anybody around here behind the creep wave, you know, somewhere around here is huge. Because where is everybody? You're also all bot lane. You don't see anybody bot lane. So there's two things that could be happen. One, they're going to gank the PA, which there's potential that they do go to gank the PA, but they're going to need to spend a lot of it. They're going to probably have to throw up two, 3 heroes, in which case I'm not 100% sure if it's worth it, because they see you all grouping up bot lane, so they know you guys are going to push down their tower. They're going to get a PA, sure, but split across 3 heroes and then a tower split across 5 heroes is far more worth it, in my opinion. So what you guys should be recognizing right now is that there's nobody on the map. There's nobody that you can see on the map. Where could they be? Where would they be? Where would we be? In this case, they're obviously going to defend this tower. They're not going to let it go, and that's a huge issue because you guys don't recognize this whatsoever, and you end up just getting absolutely blown up, it seems. So, looks like, there we go. So you're going to walk over here. Again, your Hawk, is it behind you? You see the CK there? I would just turn around. I'd be like, why is the CK here? Probably just walking out all alone. Your Hawk, you don't need him in this position whatsoever. You've got an observer ward here. Your Hawk should be behind the tower. You always want vision behind a tier 1 tower, especially a safe lane tier 1 tower, when you're pressuring it, because there's so many places that they could TP in from to defend it. They can TP in back here, you won't see them. Down here, you won't see them. If you've got vision, like right here, your Hawk's right here, you're going to see so much. You probably avoid this entire team fight because you guys can't really team fight. This guy's just hanging around at like 0 HP. Your Windrunner, not really ready to fight whatsoever compared to this team. This team is really good at fighting early on. It seems odd. Timbersaw is good at fighting early on. Jakiro, fantastic at fighting early on. The new CK, just 1 point into his passive, is really good at fighting early on. Even though it's only a 10% chance, if he manages to hit it, that's so much physical damage. And look at this. This guy's just got -5 armor right now. That's absolutely stupid. He's going to blow up. They've got Alina, Laguna Blade, disgusting ability despite the nerf. So they're really good at fighting early on. And compared to you guys, you're really not. Especially because it's 4v5 compared to 5v5. It's probably always going to be 4v5 because they've got a PA. and it's going to be like more like 3.5 v5 because Bounty Hunter doesn't offer all that much in a team fight until he's got 4 points into the Shuriken Toss. This guy's build is a little odd. He should probably have just 1 into Shadow Walk and then the other 2 into Shuriken Toss, or 3 into Shuriken, 1 into Janata. I think actually he definitely needs 1 into Janata, but so his build's a little bit odd. So you guys end up trading like terribly here. And a big thing is that, 1, you guys aren't aware of that, but 2, you're kind of thinking, oh, well, it's not just my fault, whatever. Well, at the same time, your Hawk could have been in a better position to scout out all these heroes. It could have been, you know, in a position behind the tower that you can see what happens. Sure, you get the top tower off of that, but imagine you dodge that gank, somebody TP's mid, or you know, like you TP mid, you keep pressuring out mid lane, Windrunner TP's top, she goes into the jungle, Bounty Hunter, he's just hanging around their jungle, tracking up heroes because that's all you really have to do as a Bounty Hunter. Think about how much better the game would have gone for you. You guys wouldn't have lost all that gold and experience, and now it looks like you guys are fighting again, even though you probably should have recognized that you shouldn't be fighting right now. As yeah, it looks like you're gonna go down. You do get a kill at the very least, so that's a good making the best out of a worse situation. But it's really weird to me that you guys fought there because you just got almost wiped, and then you say, all right, well, let's just TP down and do it again, right? It's like, why, in what way is that gonna work, right? Like, you just lost that team fight pretty handedly, I may add. Like, you guys actually kind of got smacked around pretty hard, and you go back down there. So probably they're still going to be around there, especially at this skill level. People don't tend to rotate around, make use of their jungle. It seems like people just like to death ball and stick around. I mean, we just saw a prime example on both teams. You guys went to the same lane, they were still in the same lane, so that's something you probably should have been ready for. Or you should really use the Hawk, throw the Hawk out first to see what's happening. Your team's kind of just dying all over the place. The biggest thing about Beastmaster is that Hawk should almost never be on cooldown. And this is more important when you have Basilius because you've got the mana regen that you can really keep this up. Looks like you should be able to get the kill here. Maybe, no. Not going to be able to do so, unfortunately. Maybe if you hadn't died a couple times, you would have had a bit more gold. You would have had enough for the Necro. You would have gotten the kill. It's small things like this that you're able to kind of, you know, not dying, you can turn into a big victory for yourself. It looks like you're going to get a kill on this Lena. No idea what she's doing. There it is. That's a nice little track kill. But the little things will actually bring you a long way, especially early on. Laning is very important. The first probably 15-20 minutes of a Dota game are incredibly important. Maybe not so much around the pub level because people tend to throw a lot. They don't save for buybacks. They take really bad late game fights, stuff like that. But even then, it's really hard to lose a game when you're an item up, right? Like, if you have your Necro 1 and probably almost Necro 2 by not dying, by farming more efficiently, by pushing towers a little bit early on, it's really hard to lose a game by being an item up. It's not as easy for them to kill you if, you know, you've got a Necro 2 in their face, or it's easy for you to find a solo kill, things like that. So, just something to keep in mind that, you know, could have been very important in this game, and securing yourselves an early game a little bit earlier on, because you do have a PA. You guys are going to be looking to like 4v5 quite a bit. You get blown up there. You don't get your Necro book off, unfortunately, but it looks like your team's doing not all that bad. It's a 2-for-1 trade. It could be better here. If the Bounty Hunter was going after the proper heroes, he probably could have gotten like 2 kills mid. The Lena's going to go down over there to the Phantom Assassin though, and that was actually a pretty good fight. Could have been better, I'm sure. There's no way, absolutely no way you kill this guy. He could probably murder you. Even with the double damage, he just like eats you alive. All he needs is that crit chance and he just like kills you straight up. And it looks like he is ready to fight, and yeah, just look at him eat heroes alive. The new CK is actually super legit. That's a nice Battle Fury for your PA. You guys bought her some room. She managed to find herself a kill there as well. So, while there's a pause here, yeah, we'll just kind of keep up with it. So you're not really good at bursting big heroes. The heroes you should be looking at this game are Leshrac, as well as the Jakiro. Jakiro actually has really good strength gain, so he's kind of a harder hero to kill. He's got about 1,000 HP. He's got a bunch of armor as well, thanks to that buckler. So he's a little bit tougher to kill. And just so you're aware as well, most of the time, like 90% of the time, you want to pop your Necro book before you roar. I'm not 100% sure if you do it after. I find a lot of players do it after, but those few extra strikes while they're stunned in roar could mean the difference between a kill or a hero getting away, because outside of roar, you're a Beastmaster. You really have no chase or anything like that, right? So unless there's other heroes with you, there's not much you can do to lock down a hero and you know, convert it into a kill after Roar is used here. As it looks like this Leshrac does have a Blink Dagger, I think, so he's going to survive here. Mid lane, you're in a terrible position right now, I think. Yeah, this is hard, right? Because I think the biggest thing right now is you guys not able to recognize that you guys are terrible at fighting early on. Another huge thing as well, which like better be nerfed, and I'm just going to point out that either, you know, in case you're playing with an Undying, whatever, you play as Undying, your CK appeal, illusions actually count as a full hero hit. They don't have the same kind of targeting as like Supernova does. Like if an illusion hits Supernova, it does like nothing, whereas if an illusion hits Tombstone, it does like full hero damage, so it does like one hit. So CK absolutely just like ults, kills Tombstone, and then just kills your team because he does like negative 1,000,000 armor. I mean, look at those illusions. They were the only thing hitting that PA, and she took about, you know, maybe even if it's an eighth or a quarter of her HP, that's a lot, right? So this new CK is really good at fighting early on. CK's always been good at fighting early on. The new one's even better. You get a nice solo kill there. You got 1,700 gold. You should definitely be buying up your Necro book. And you're doing a good job now. So the big thing here as well is that you have to kind of sometimes take the captain role and you know, focus on your team, see what they're building, maybe suggest to them to build certain things. Hey, you should build this, you should build this. Your Undying builds a Crimson Guard this game, which is like blows my mind, because like Crimson Guard is probably one of the worst items this game. They only have a CK in terms of physical damage. Maybe the Lena a little bit, but she's not going physical damage build whatsoever. Sure, she's got 4 points and a Fiery Soul, but that's neither here nor there. The CK is their biggest point of physical damage, and with the armlet as well as the crit and the illusions, it's really not that great. The fact that you're getting one item to counter one hero is terrible. Now, if he would have gotten a pipe, which you get later on, which you shouldn't have bought, if he gets a pipe, you guys are way better at fighting early on, and he doesn't have essentially, I don't know how much Crimson Guard is, like 4k or something. He doesn't have like 4k sitting in his inventory, really not helping your team all that much. So sometimes it's necessary to recognize and say, hey, like at the beginning of the game, say, hey, Undying, like they've got a lot of magical damage, can you get a pipe early on? And he'll say, oh yeah, sure, man. Hey, Bounty Hunter, you're going Guardian Greaves. That means like our Undying doesn't have to get... Wait, who is supporting? Yeah, it was the Undying. It was dual lanes. Yeah, that means the Undying doesn't have to get a mechanism. So if he gets a pipe, you guys have some burst heal to help sit through some of that magic damage or physical damage. The mechanism and the Greaves are going to help you with the physical damage altogether. And then the pipe's going to help you with the magical. So that's something you could have kept in mind as well. Maybe you could have captained a little bit more, which I think... whenever you watch these like really high MMR players, aside from a few, but like these really try-hard players like Envy, Beeryu, like Weehaw S4 as well to an extent, Arteezy not so much, but whenever you watch these players, actually yeah, even Arteezy somewhat, but whenever you watch these players, they have to captain so intensely. Like they're just always on point, telling their team where to be, what to buy, what to do, stuff like that. And just like this CK is just killing you guys. Like there's not much else to say other than the CK is ripping you guys apart, and you really need to buy yourselves a lot of time. Look for more solo picks. Don't look to pressure as 4, although it seems like, you know, you've got a PA, you should be fighting 4v5 until she's ready to fight. You've also got a Necro book. You're really good at solo killing as well as pushing a lane, so you probably shouldn't look for these team fights because the CK is just so good at them. As the PA doing a pretty good job there as well. Just managed to get herself a triple kill, and that's great. And it looks like maybe getting more and more here. It seems like yes. Oh wait, I'm still on the Undying. I should be on you. That's my bad. But yeah, look at this CK. It's actually disgusting. He does so much physical damage. Because the negative armor actually procs on the illusions as well. Yeah. So now you've got your level 3 Necro book. There's a couple of items that are way more important. Well, okay, no, you know what? Maybe not way more important than this pipe. But had this game gone the way it should have, you wouldn't be building a pipe. Maybe even more important than the pipe. I think the next items you're looking at, like 280%, are a Blink Dagger and a Vladimir's. The Vlads, even if this is like post whatever 6.83 or something, when Vlad's doesn't affect ranged heroes, you still have 4 melee heroes, and a Vlad's is like unreal with your entire team right now, especially because it even gives the Windrunner lifesteal now. So Vlad's would have been absolutely unreal to help you guys pushing, to help your team fighting, give you some life steals, some sustain, bonus armor against some of the physical damage they've got, bonus damage. It's just a good item, like a ridiculously good item. I don't think people realize how good it is. To put it in perspective, Assault Cuirass gives your team 5 bonus armor. Vlad's gives your team 5 bonus armor. Like, that's huge, right? Like, people say, oh, I'll buy AC to give my team bonus armor. Vlad's gives the same amount of bonus armor for like half the cost. That's huge. And unless you're looking for, you know, the attack speed as well as the negative armor debuff from AC, it's not really that worth it. I think AC in general probably needs a little bit of a buff, perhaps, in its armor capabilities. Maybe not. I don't know. Probably not, actually. But the fact that you get 5 bonus armor from Vlad's would have been huge, because then it negates the entire CK as well, right? Like, he gives you 5 negative armor. Whatever, you've got a Vlad's anyways. It's going to give your team 5 bonus armor. That's something that you should have been thinking of as well. And it's really easy for me to just, like, sit behind this screen and be like, hey, man, why didn't you think of it? I'm watching this replay at 0.25 speed. I can think of all these things. Why can't you? And I don't want it to come off that way, but this is what makes the difference between a good Dota player and an average one, is thinking critically throughout the game, especially when you're dead. During these downtimes, when you're dead at the beginning of the game, when you've just finished, like when you're in base regenning, this is when you should take a couple seconds to think critically and say, okay, what does Vlad's do? What does my team need to do? All right, well, it seems like we're fighting early on. They're beating us. What do we need to help fighting early on? Oh, well, we've got a mech here. Sure, we could use a pipe as well. However, Vlad's would really help out as well. Right now, imagine all of these heroes taking another 15% damage right now, because that's what would be happening. Your team is doing a 15% more damage. Those heroes probably die a little bit earlier on in this team fight, as well as all these heroes get a little bit more lifesteal, so you guys are a little bit more, you guys have more regen itself, you guys are all a little bit better HP, you got more armor, so you're not taking as much damage, and this fight probably goes a lot better, right? So that's just something that Vlad's could have helped you out with a lot. Blink Dagger would have been a fairly good as well. That guy just got an ultra kill. I don't even know. That hero's actually stupid. But Blink Dagger would help you out as well, especially because CK actually has a really low mana pool. And if you can scout him out with the Hawk before a team fight starts, you've got a hero with an innate blink in it as well, right? You've got the PA. So if you can blink in, roar the CK, and then, you know, pop your Necro Book, and the PA follows you up, you can probably burst the CK, or maybe even burn enough mana for him to not be able to use his ult, but you can probably burst him quick enough before he can, you know, be effective in a team fight. Maybe you don't kill him, and maybe he gets his armlet off, but that's a lot of damage. And then you've also got like a follow-up with the Undying, maybe, you know, stealing some strength, healing you guys up. You've got a Windrunner as well who can force staff in, stuff like that. So Blink could have been good as well. I think Vlad's would have been a great decision here, and it's very important that you would have recognized, you know, a different item, or, you know, helping out your Undying. And already, we're only 31 minutes in, and we've seen some mistakes, and not all yours necessarily, but certainly mistakes that you yourself can help fix. It looks like you guys killed the CK. That was absolutely huge. I actually want to watch what goes on there and see how you kill this CK. As, no. Oh my god, Reborn is actually killing me right now. Rewinding replays is so hard. So there it is. Yeah, you find the CK. No armlet on. Does turn his armlet on, but like you get the roar down, and that's it. He's just dead. Sure, it takes 4 heroes, whatever, yada yada. But that's what I'm saying, is if you can get the jump on CK, and he can't just run around eating you guys alive, he's not that effective, right? Like, you just roar him up, and then you guys burst him down. That's huge. It looks like it's a 2 for 2 so far. You guys are still doing well. 3 for 2 now. And look at that. A 5 for 2 because you get the roar off on the CK. So imagine if you had a blink or something like that. I mean, you didn't even have the... Whoa, you go Boots of Travel? Alright, that's a little bit confusing. That's definitely not the item here whatsoever. That is... that seriously hurts your game right there, the Boots of Travel. That is super greedy. Boots of Travel is like an item that you would buy if you're way ahead and you really want to globally pressure the team, because like they're nowhere near any farm that they need, and you're also looking to push a lot. So that's when you would get Boots of Travel if you're looking to push or really globally pressure because you guys are way ahead. Definitely not behind, because Boots of Travel is not a behind item whatsoever, right? Like, you get Boots of Travel, you Boots of Travel into a fight, and maybe you help the fight, but that's about it, right? Whereas if you've got a Blink Dagger or a Vlad's, you're doing a lot more. And it looks like you go to Split push. This is huge. You're actually... I have no idea what to say there. I can't believe that just happened. I have to rewatch that fight and see how that PA just got a rampage. Cause... Alright, so they're coming up. They're all at fairly good HP here. They're just hanging around. PA gets Aegis. People are getting a little low here, especially the CK. Doesn't have his ultimate, and that's how they lose the fight. So, just as I was telling you, Boots of Travel were bad. This happens and you get a Rax and they all die here. But this is mainly because the enemy team tries to high ground you when there's only a bounty hunter dead. They have no idea where the PA is, and they take a lot of damage going high ground here. And the PA obviously just comes up from behind and cleans up here. Like, kills the CK instantly. Nobody even turns around after she kills the CK, and like that's it. So realistically, I'm not saying like, I'm not trying to like reverse my opinion here and be like, oh no, it was actually good, whatever, or like really point out on why it should have worked. But look at the damage you're doing just with your Necro book and yourself. But what I am trying to say is that should never have worked out, because they should have been way more aware of what was going on. They probably should have gone to Roshan after that tower. But that did work out for you, so I guess good on you. The Boots of Travel do work out. They probably shouldn't have, and going forward, as you get better, they really won't have. But, you know, something to keep in mind. PA still dies. So see, if that guy had his ult or realized that, okay, I shouldn't be going up against this PA, he probably, you know, that team fight, this is how that team fight should have gone, realistically. They shouldn't have been high ground, and the PA shouldn't have gotten all that out of that. But whatever, that's neither here nor there. Looks like you're going to get your Necro book off. You get a Roar. You guys are still pushing them out. You kill the Leshrac. That's great. You're still working on the pipe. If you are going to have bots, you should definitely be in the spot lane right now. Like 200%, you shouldn't be in your jungle. You just bots, if you're not comfortable botsing to the front creep wave, you bots to the second one, you grab an eagle, you scout with the eagle as you're pushing up. And that's what you would want to do with your bots. Not really farming your jungle, because really you're not doing anything for your team by farming your jungle, other than, you know, just some general farming. Looks like the game's pretty much over. He's bought back like 9 times. You pick up a gem, and there's no way they come back. I hope not, at least. You bots out, and because you bots out, they don't get racks. So there's a good example of how your bots didn't work out. And so you're like, oh, the CK is dead, we're good. And even if that's the case, there's no reason to Boots Travel here, right? Because you're thinking, oh, I'm going to push this wave back. But if you just stay here, you take this Rax with your team, you just move to this Rax. Like, there's no tower here. There's no backdoor protection as long as you have creeps somewhere in the base. It doesn't have to be bot lane. And you pretty much triple Rax them instead, because you're not there with your attack speed aura. You're not there with your pipe activated. They take a shit ton of magical damage. And let's look at the fight recap here. So, damage done. Let's look at this. Timbersaw, some pure, probably all magical. That's pure, magical. That's pure as well. Actually, a lot of his damage is probably pure. Some of that was returned as well. He does a lot of damage. Lina, another magic. Like, these 3 heroes only deal magic damage, right? So, I'm sure probably after this happened, you thought, shit, I shouldn't have TP'd out there. But I'm gonna you know, point it out anyways, because I don't know. Makes me feel better about myself. So you're doing all right. You're pushing bot lane at the very least. But you definitely could have been 1 Rax up, and that move is oh, actually, they have that Rax, so yeah, that's actually really bad. I thought you guys still had your bin Rax. I totally forgot. So that was actually really bad. All right, and it looks like you guys are ready to fight. You pipe up, but you pipe up. How many heroes here? Undying's not piped yet. Windrunner. Pipe wore off, actually, so I don't even know who's piped anymore. But this team fight is just such a cluster. Everybody's way too far gone. You haven't even spent your Roar yet for some reason, despite the fact that it would have secured you the kill on that Leshrac. You could have lived a little bit longer. and the game is not over yet. And the GGs are coming out. You've got no buyback. They could probably just end it. This actually would have been a legit game to cast. I would have liked to cast this game. This happened to me like 4 times now doing replay analysis, that people send me just like absolutely unreal games, and then I have to analyze them, even though I would have loved to cast them. And there's a nice roar, there's a shackle. Follow up. You guys really need to focus the racks, and you don't do so, and like this game is so back and forth right now. I don't even want to look at this graph, what's happening right now. PA is going to go for Roshan. You help her. That's fantastic. There's a cheese on the ground. Drop your stick. Drop your stick. And I don't know why they're trying to fight you, even though you've got an Aegis. Like, this is just crazy. This is like a whole new world right now. He actually got bashed off that. So 6.85. Thanks, Obama. And it looks like they're ready to fight. So, targeting priority right now. If you do not roar the CK, I will be so sad. And oh my god, you're so legit. You do roar the CK, you even push out the Leshrac, and you didn't pop your Necro book, and that is game. PA should have dropped her helm for the Aegis. You should have picked up the cheese. There's probably, if there's a cheese still in the pit, I'm gonna be so sad. I don't think there is, right? It would have shown me. Somebody had the cheese. Whatever, the game's over anyways, doesn't matter. That's probably what should have happened, but I don't want to say that TP away from mid was game losing, but that was pretty huge. That was pretty huge, for sure. The itemization was off as well. Hopefully I wasn't too harsh on you here, man. I really don't want to come off as like a huge asshole that's like trying to preach that you know, you're terrible at Dota, and hopefully I actually did point out a lot of things that'll help you out here. Because you are a good player, you got some nice kills, you got some nice space for your team, you pushed, you got that Rax top, that was huge. And yeah, so, you know, hopefully you do continue to play, and this was a great game. Hopefully you take a lot of this information for your laning stage, your itemization, stuff like that, and you take it, and, you know, critical thinking, and you get better, and then you come back and you're like 4K, and you're like, hey man, I can't break out of 4K, 4.2K, what should I do now? And I'll help you out with all the small things, but it doesn't matter. Thanks again so much for sending in the replay, Super Gnat, and hopefully you did enjoy this analysis. I know I for sure did, and it was a ton of fun. So thanks again, man, and take care. Hey everyone, thanks for checking out the video. Hope you enjoyed it. Feel free to check out some of my other videos. I have my series from lane to lane where I just cast some everyday pubs that you guys send me. I also do some more professional pubs like games from Koikva, Miracle, whoever I can get my hands on from Dota Buff. I have a learning series as well, so feel free to check that out. There's some more info in the description as well as some videos linked in the annotations at the end here. Thanks a lot.